but hey, we got all the kinks ironed out. We're gonna be talking a little LSU recruiting update, reacting to the SEC media poll, and then we got some opinions to drop on CFB 25. Like we said, the honeymoon is over. Patch one can't come fast enough. But let's dive into this LSU recruiting news. As you saw yesterday, our guy Derek Meadows, shout out, five-star wide receiver from Las Vegas, commits to the Tigers. Everyone's wondering, the Corey Moore situation doesn't go the way Brian Kelly and company wanted to go. Then you're kind of, getting questions about Khalid Lockett, but fear no more. You got a five-star blue chip wide receiver headed to Louisiana. I think the pedigree is going to continue. Number three class per on three. Number one is Alabama. Number two is Ohio State. And look, here's all I'm going to say about this. We knew that Alabama would be at the top of this. We kind of been alluding to it for, a few weeks now, that Kalen DeBoer is pretty locked in, and he's not in as bad of a situation as people would think. And I feel like this recruiting, turnaround is very indicative of that. But LSU's recruiting, at the number three class, it's a comfortable spot. We always also do say that the rankings, whether it be number one or number two or even number three, they're very close. It's all a matter of decimals. It's all a matter of, a couple recruits, a couple rankings, and sometimes these rankings don't pan out. So I wouldn't really break your back over being number three versus number two versus number one. At least, you're at that, I'm going to say, championship level of recruiting or elite recruiting, if you will. And it's just funny because you had a lot of questions around Brian Kelly, around the staff, around the consistency of the program in that recruiting area, and they've been able to hit the nail on the head for quite some time. And I think this 2025 class will be pretty indicative of that. And this is also the class that you can look to be that depth whenever LSU does inevitably go on that championship run. If it's this year, of course, you're going to surprise a lot of people, and you're going to see that 2025 class shake up quite a bit. They'll probably shoot up. You'll add some transfers, the hype that usually comes with it. But it seems like it's trending in the right direction. Like I said, whether it be number one, number two, number three, I'll be satisfied with it. It's an improvement, and this is how you get those trophies back in Baton Rouge. But trophies back in Baton Rouge, it seems like the media at SEC Media Days are they're not expecting it, at least in the conference championship department. The rankings go as following. UGA number one, Texas, in their debut season in the big boy league. At number two, Alabama goes to number three. Ole Miss makes an appearance in the top four, and then you got LSU. We're going to go ahead and break down each individual team, if they should be here, if they should, not be here. We'll start things off with Georgia. Of course, I feel like they deserve to be the number one team. They've proven year after year after year for the greater part of 3 to 4 years that they should be considered elite. They've probably got the best coach in college football. It's kind of hard to disagree with that. Plus, this Carson Beck situation, honestly, I'm on the fence on it because it could go to one of two ways. He can shock the world, maybe push up the draft boards, maybe get into the top of the first round, or it could kind of be one of those situations where it just doesn't pan out. And I feel like that's really a rough take on it. But it's just I don't know how to fall on his stock. Hopefully, obviously things go his way. You kind of hear rumors of Quinn Irish being able to go to the top, and that leads me into the second seed. It's just confusing. UT getting thrown around in the championship game already in their debut year. You would just think it would take some getting used to. You would think it would take Texas, a year or two to be able to take the bumps and bruises, get the recruiting at that level, and get the depth at that level. But no, the media is saying, hey, we think Texas is going to hit the ground running. Now, look, I do want to say Nick Saban let y'all know. He said it himself, and I will respect Nick Saban's opinion because I think he knows a thing about a thing or two. He's been in a few SEC title games. I don't know if you know that, but he said Texas is not going to come in and just dominate this conference, and I'm going to second that. I agree with Nick here. I think that UT might not have a horrible game, or excuse me, a horrible season, but an SEC title appearance, it's going to take some miracles to happen in Austin. Moving in, we're talking about Nick Saban. Let's bring up Alabama. They're at the number three spot. Look, I can see him being top five. I'll go with that. Top three would take, it's the best case scenario. It would take everything going right. It would take Jalen Milroe being a finalist in New York City for the Heisman Trophy. It would take them beating damn near everybody in the SEC. They're going to have to come into Tiger Stadium and get that W. They're really going to have to, like I said, have everything fall in their favor if they're going to crack into the top three. I don't know if you see them get into the SEC title game, although, look, out of all of these teams on this list, besides Georgia, I'll say Alabama really wouldn't surprise me to be in the SEC title game. Now, here's where things get interesting. You got Ole Miss. This is why they could be a sleeper to get in. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I'm really confused just because I'm always skeptical of transfer portal pieces. I'm always skeptical on how that culture is going to be able to blend. There's a lot of things moving. There's a lot of pieces in limbo. I think they are in a push come the shove year, so they could really have a lot of purpose. They could play with that chip on their shoulder, and they could perform. Jackson Dart's nothing to scoff at either, but I think the reason why you've got to note that they could get in there is because that friendly schedule. Their toughest three games in LSU, they play Georgia and they play Oklahoma. Now, even if they drop all three of them, I could imagine they get a berth in the college football playoff. And them being at number 4 in this poll doesn't say they're going to an SEC title game. What it says is they'll probably be one of your bigger SEC schools. And just judging by that, that stretch and the conference play, I feel like they could potentially hang it out. It's really just gonna, have to come down to how these quarterbacks adjust into these roles because they're not really developing, so to speak, anymore. The Carson Beck, so the world or the SEC, even the Jackson Darts, this is their moment. The time is running out. They're gonna have to perform here, and I think it'll be interesting for Ole Miss at least. I think Georgia's better equipped for that, better equipped for that transition. And I mean, if we're talking about transitions, we're gonna have to bring LSU into this. Brian Kelly says he has confidence in Nussmeier, and Nussmeier saying he has confidence in his wide receivers. I think this transition should be pretty smooth. The biggest thing that I said months ago would just be let's see that running game translate. Let's see, all those carries and all those attempts and those big explosive plays that you got on the legs with Jaden Daniels. Of course, we know it's not going to be the exact same. We don't have to keep drilling it over and over and over again. But if you have two of the most experienced running backs, please use that crutch. Let's see the offensive line pushing people out the way like we know they're capable of. If you get 100 yards on the ground, it takes a lot of pressure off your quarterback. It allows things to be able to easily flow. He can get into a rhythm. He can kind of breathe a little bit. I think that's going to be pretty important for Mr. Nussmeier going forward. We got Bucks in the chat saying, I don't think Georgia's going to do any good. They barely won last year. Well, it's just hard for me to see a program like that just kind of fizzle and fall out. I'm always skeptical on Georgia being number 1, but I mean, look, how many years do they have to be able to perform? It's like I really don't know how to feel about Kirby Smart. I can't say with a confident, feeling that he's not the best coach in the SEC. It seems like when Nick Saban leaves, it kind of just was his role to assume, but we'll have to see it play out. I think, with the recruiting and just the level of consistency that they've had in the program is kind of interesting. It's like I even expect someone like Alabama to be able to continue that with a new coach, just simply put, because of how good that scheme was and how good that culture was in general. And I mean, I got to say the same for Georgia. Let's move into the last segment, though. We're going to wrap this thing up here. College football 25. It's been a talk of the town lately. Everybody's been talking about it. We made a little post about it. We made a little fun. I don't know what's going on. We were talking rankings, polls, all this crap. How you got 4 lost teams over undefeated teams? I mean, I know y'all saw that. I don't know what your thoughts were. Go ahead and comment if you got any changes you'd want made to patch 1. I know what college football 25 and EA Sports need to work on, though. That offensive line. Good gracious. I mean, you got 2 seconds and then your teeth are knocked out of your mouth because both tackles, both guards, and your center are getting mollywopped. And then here you go getting sacked 7 times in the first 7 drives. But patch 1, hey, it can't come fast enough. Like we said, I'm excited for it. And I feel like, the game is overall, it's pretty good. It could be a lot worse, I will say that. Let's end it on a positive note. College Football 25 content coming soon. I think we're going to start with a dynasty. Then we might move into some ultimate team. I don't know. I need to see some juice flow into these packs. We need some juice, EA. Come on. We need some coins. We need some packs. We need something. We need something to start cooking up in the lab so when we can hit the ground running. That's what I say. But Dynasty Mode College Football 2025 coming soon. I'm going to put it on a different channel, I think. I might give y'all a poll, let everybody, vote, and I'm going to hear it out, and the majority's going to get it their way. But I think the plan as of right now is to make a separate channel, kind of separate the two. But appreciate everybody hopping into this live. We're going to go live on Wednesday night, probably Friday night as well. But, hey, I do want to warn y'all, I would hit the notification bell really soon because the practice videos are coming back. We got a little twist for them. I'll say it now. We're going to do the practice recaps that we did all spring. We're going to do them live, though. We're going to try to add a little twist to it, get y'all involved. Also, remember the Twitter mailbag. Go on Twitter. We'll put a post out before we go live. Drop all your questions in it, and we'll address them at the end of the stream. This has been the Verdin. Thank y'all for tuning in, and thanks to our guys at Happy Deb. Best taste of hard seltzer. Go get it in Louisiana. Albertsons Rouse's, Walmart, shout out to the guys. Gluten-free, low sugar, no artificial flavors. It's the best drink on the market. Verdin verdict approval. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a good one.